Hi guys, it's Sophie. So today I wanted to talk to you about a specific kind of book, and I don't mean a specific genre because I do think this can go across a range of genres, but a specific kind of book, and it's a sort of kind of book I read a lot of. So I decided to make this video because I'm currently reading two books of this type. The first one is Lolita by Vladimir Nabokov, and the second one is Our Endless Numbered Days by Claire Fuller. And both of those books are books I would consider dark books. So as I say, they can be in a range of different genres. They aren't necessarily all about the same kind of thing, but they are things that are the darker, the more disturbing kinds of sort of human behaviour. I find them incredibly interesting. If you've watched this channel for a while, then you probably know that I enjoy true crime, that I find that fascinating, and you know, both in terms of literature and in terms of television shows, movies, and I really do like exploring the darker side of human nature. So first I just wanted to talk a little bit about Lolita, which is one of the ones I'm currently reading. It's about essentially a pedophile who is sort of having this relationship with this girl called Lolita, who is a child, and it's told through his perspective, and it's about the way he views their relationship as unfolding. It's beautifully written, but it is quite hard to read if you aren't used to this kind of thing, and if you would find topics of sort of child abuse triggering, though it's not necessarily vulgar in the way it's written, but it is still quite detailed, quite graphic, and there is a lot of thought process going on. Our Endless Numbered Days is a similar kind of scenario where we have an older person taking advantage of a child, but it's in a different setting. This is the case of a father taking a daughter away to a sort of wilderness almost, to let her think that the rest of the world has ended, and really he's all she has. And I think what I find so interesting about these kind of books, and specifically those two books I'm reading now, is because it lets you explore that humanity in things that are more evil and harder to explain. And I have a few more books here that I wanted to show you that I think help to do that, and that I think are worth reading. So the first one is a graphic novel. It's My Friend Dharma by Dirk Backdorf. And for those of you who don't know, Jeffrey Dahmer is, or was, an American serial killer, and he killed mostly sort of young boys, and did some quite horrendous things with them. But this isn't so much about the murders as it is about him in school. It's told by someone who did know Dahmer at the time, and about really his family life and what people thought of him before they knew what he was really doing with himself. It really is very good. It's good as a graphic novel, and it's good just as a story. I think it gives you a lot of insight into that individual's life. It's a similar kind of thing. It's letting you see something that otherwise you wouldn't be able to necessarily comprehend. And then something a little bit different, we have Time's Arrow by Martin Amis. This is a book which is about the Holocaust, basically, but it's told backwards. And because of the fact it's told backwards, you have very, very odd moments where you have essentially Nazis healing Jews through purification with gas. It's a very odd book, it is a very dark book, but it makes you see things in a different way. It makes you almost imagine what it might have been like for the Nazis to be thinking, do you know what, we are helping in a way. And this backwardsness of it makes it so that you could read it. If it was forwards, I don't think I would be able to read it, but it is an interesting way of explaining something that is very dark and very deep, deeply buried as a horrible memory in the human subconscious. And then the last one I just wanted to touch on quickly is one I've read quite recently, and it's Forgive Me Leonard Peacock. This book is about a young boy who essentially decides, for reasons that you're unsure of, that he is going to kill someone at his school, and he's going to kill himself. And it follows him through a day, essentially, and the day that he decides he's going to do this. And you find out why, and you find out what he's thinking, and sort of his motivations. But it's another one where you could so see this happening, and I think so often you see it happening in the news, where you have these people, these shooters, going out and destroying people's lives for seemingly no determinable reason. And I think this brings a lot of humanity to it, and I think that it, more than anything, this book was sad. This book definitely made me feel for the main character, but made me sad for him that he was considering this as an option. And I think that's something that's so far away from the gut response when you hear about things like this. It's just really intriguing to see a book explore those things. Now, as I said, I read a fair amount of darker literature. It's something that does really interest me. It's something that I don't necessarily shy away from. I think ultimately I can see the value in exploring that human condition, and I think it's very brave of authors to be willing to put themselves out there for those more difficult topics and be willing to actually explore something that is genuinely difficult to think about a lot of the time. And I think it is something that is very valuable for people to understand, or to have some level of understanding as to why these things might happen. I mean, even thinking about books like My Friend Dharma, often if you have a serial killer novel, what you have is a thriller, and what you have is it told through the purpose of that detective, of resolving that mystery, and it is a plot device. What you get with something like My Friend Dharma is a completely different experience. What you're having then is a sense of empathy for that other human, however evil they are. And that's something that I think is innately human, that ability to empathise despite actions, and especially empathising before the actions have taken place. I think what I find a lot in these novels are the ones that I enjoy the most are ones where you see, well, what happened to make this happen? What could have happened before this to make it not happen? I find those absolutely enthralling and interesting. Let me know if you enjoyed this video. As I say, I read a lot of this kind of thing. If you do enjoy it, I have a lot more recommendations for books that will make you think and are on darker subject matter. Let me know in the comments down below if you really enjoy darker literature, if you find it really interesting, or whether you're the kind of person that would prefer not to have those kind of things in what you're reading. I hope that you're all really well, and thank you ever so much for watching. I will see you again soon, probably in my August wrap up. Goodbye.